Hello, what is going on, guys? Hockey Guy 1 here. Welcome to my review of Monsters University. So, Monsters University is directed by Dan Scanlon and stars Billy Crystal, John Goodman, Peter Shawn, Joel Murray, and Dave Foley. So, the story is about Mike Wazowski, who ends up getting kicked out of the scaring program along with Sully, and ends up having to compete in the scare games with Uzma Kappa so he can get back into the scaring program. So I do think the opening in this movie is done very well. I mean, it answers questions about Mike and what made him decide to be a scarer, and it's really intense as it does open up the movie very well, as it does give Mike stakes as you don't really know. Can have him as he kind of gets onto the scare floor, and also does really well on what made him want to go to Monsters University, with that hat thing that ends up being a big sign in this movie, and I think that's a really good opening for the movie. And there's the finale of the scare games thing that was actually very well done, and is the best part about the whole scare game stuff, and it actually does very well with it as it does is very intense, and there's a lot of stakes to it. You don't really know what could happen with Mike, and it's very intense for a movie, and it's very well done. It even does something unpredictable, and you'd expect it to just stop there, and Mike gets into the program and it shows a bit of montages at the end, like any normal movie, but nope, Pixar does something different, and they actually end up doing completely different where they actually has it that Sully cheated to make Mike do it, and I think is pretty brilliant in how they did it, because it's just completely unpredictable and something that you wouldn't expect. And the climax of this movie is just very intense and very good. I mean, it has them both going through a door for the first time, and it's kind of just erasing time, and we actually get to see the adult scare adults from once rather than kids, which actually is a pretty interesting plot twist, just as it does show them scaring adults and showing what happens when they scare adults, and that's more powerful. So I think it's a very good way to put in a climax. Mike's character in this movie, I feel like, was done really good. I mean, he's easily the best character in this movie, with how well his character is developed, and how much heart he has as a character is very good. But as he actually kind of feels like a leader in Uzma Kappa, as he does have a lot of heart and studies very well, which reminds you of a normal college student, and that's actually a triumph, and I think that's a really good character for him. Sully's character is really good, mainly because we get a lot of questions that are answered in this movie, like how the rivalry between him and Randall started. I thought that was a really good way to do it, and as well as just his character in general. I mean, at first he kind of was a selfish dick, but he develops very well into a more helpful person, and I really like that development as it actually makes him feel like his character from the original, and was very well developed. And the voice acting in this film was really great, especially Billy Crystal and John Goodman in their respective roles. They did a fantastic job, as well as the entire cast. All of them really seemed like they cared about the role and were into it, and actually put on a good performance with how well they did. The animation is just really good. I especially like the background designs are really great. I really like the way they design the college, as it does kind of remind you of a normal real-life college, and is very creative, as well as the creative designs on making each monster look a bit different. I really like how they do that, and I find it to be really creative on Pixar's part. With that said, this movie does have its negatives. I did feel like the story was pretty inconsistent, as the main storyline really didn't pick up until the second act, which I feel like that was kind of badly written and how it is, because it's the main storyline. It doesn't really pick up till midway through the second act, and I wish they did a bit better. The plot's just not very good, mainly because of the first two acts. Like, I could predict pretty much every single move up to when the scare game things happened, because it was just very predictable and just very bland and dull in every way, because of how everything's just in this movie is just predictable and just has been done before. It's just pretty cliched. Randall felt a bit wasted. I mean, there wasn't really that many answers about him. I mean, you still don't really know exactly why he became a villain, and as it doesn't really tell you in this movie, it just kind of just shows how he wants to be with the cool kids and why he doesn't really like Sullivan. And other than that, I really think his character was wasted, and I feel like they should have showed a bit more on how he's villainous, rather than just showing a bit more the new characters, because they really should have made him end off where he started in Monsters, Inc. The other Uzma Kappa members, like Squishy, Terry, Art, and John Carlton, all felt very underwhelming and underdeveloped. I mean, their characters are not developed very well, as it's really they just kind of down themselves, but all of a sudden Mike kind of like brings them to one place, and all of a sudden they're up on themselves, which I think is pretty bad development for them, because they should have been a bit more developed throughout the story rather than just that. Hardscrabble is pretty much the main villain, but isn't necessarily a villain. But either way, she's terrible. I mean, there's nothing really much to her character. We don't really know much about her other than she broke a record, and why she's really down on my. And honestly, her intentions just don't really make any sense that much. And her as a villain just doesn't really work, because she doesn't really have anything like a motivation or anything, and her character is just really weak and poorly done. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mike and Sully as their own characters just fine, but like I said earlier, but their friendship in this movie honestly was not very well developed. I mean, they just seemed like they hated each other for the most of it, but all of a sudden they just liked each other in the climax, which I think was just pretty forced and just underdeveloped. The humor in this movie is just really bad, and I mean, in both cases, like badly timed or just bad jokes in general. Like, there's some badly timed jokes, like most of the Uzma Kappa members just poorly times the jokes, like how most of the time they choose them during suspenseful moments, which does not work out very well. And as well as just there's some bad jokes too, like just the normal college jokes that they just put in, and then are just really bad and unfunny. And honestly, they should have done a bit better with the jokes here, as none of them were funny, as they're either just badly timed or just bad. So overall, Monsters University is a disappointing prequel to Monsters, Inc., and which has a mixture of good and bad things, and I'm going to give Monsters University a 6 out of 10. That was my review of Monsters University. What are your thoughts on Monsters University? Tell me in the comments below, and I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.